My name's Bob. James Bond.
Names is for tombstones, baby.
He's like, what?
Is that guy like zombie?
He's like, well, I'm just laughing like, just for tombstone, baby.
Niggas in there.
Roger Moore look like, you want to call me a jive turkey now? Ian, I'll probably bring you in later and hear your opinion on this because
no,
you know, you are,
no, you're not.
You know, you are the authorities. Yeah, you are. You are. I've been told by Sam that next time we go hang out with the schmoes, you need to be in tow. So, all right. Hey, don't give up, man.
Never say never.
Dreams can come true. Oh, let's see here.
Was that a Roger Moore Bond?
No.
Okay.
No. Dreams do come true. No, that is not a Bond movie.
I said
man.
never say never.
Oh, never say never. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Fuck y'all, you bitches. All I heard was,
I heard the dreams do come true. That's all I heard.
That's what I heard too.
Like, what? No.
James Bond in Dreams Do Come True. He's shooting flowers at his guns. But speaking of James Bond, man, let's go ahead and pay tribute to a man right here. Some people say
It was Sean Connery.
What's that?
Never say never.
It was Sean Connery.
Oh yeah, no, it was. What was it? Okay.
It was the unofficial one.
But we're gonna talk about what some people consider to be the official James Bond, Roger Moore. A lot of people are saying that was my James Bond right there.
Sure, depending on when you grew up.
When you grew up, because I know. You know what I like? I like in every one of these things when they shoot somebody, the dude when he's shot, he kind of stumbles this way.
Yeah.
You know, he's steady with that gun.
He took too long to take the shot.
He's clearly drunk.
But the way he's so accurate going left and right, you know, usually the person's like, fuck. But this guy's like, whoa. But James Bond, everybody has their James Bond. And a lot of people who came up in my generation, Roger Moore, that was their James Bond. And James Bond, now a lot of people are saying tragically, and I want to, I mean no disrespect.
He's 89.
Yeah.
He won. You hit 80, you crossed the finish line.
Well, yeah, when you hit 80, should I even say 85? You know, when you
Everything after that is a victory lap.
And did you hear what he died of?
No.
Besides being 89.
Well, I heard he had some form of cancer.
He had cancer.
Yeah.
He had cancer, and people are looking at anytime you throw cancer in the mix, that's tragic.
Sure.
And it is. But I will say, look, man, at 89, and you were James Bond too.
Yeah.
That's a good life. And I mean, I'm looking at him right there. He was up there in this picture. The old man looking good.
Sure.
Wife was looking good. And a lot of people, as I said, now at 89, he died. He died in Switzerland. They're about to have a funeral for him in Monaco. And you know,
He was always there playing Baccarat.
What's that?
He was always there playing Baccarat.
What? Baccarat.
From the James Bond movies. Goddamn.
I know everybody.
It's from the one Dreams Can Come True. That James Bond.
Yeah, that one.
He missed it.
But
Ian got it.
Ian don't count. He's on the couch.
You're gonna be number 4.
But here's
Don't learn.
I know. But here's the deal. My man right here, he was James Bond for people in the 70s. When I was coming up.
Sure.
You know, and before we get into the James Bond, because yes, he is synonymous with James Bond. In fact, he is the first James Bond. He played James Bond 7 times himself, but he is the first person to play the mainstream James Bond that died. I would say, you know, all the James Bond that were theatrically released, he's the first one to die out of that bunch. I thought George Lazenby was dead right now from Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Right.
He
just has a new documentary. That
really
showed it at South by
being James
Southwest.
Bond.
Yeah.
He was George Lazenby's actually 77. I thought he was older than Roger Moore. I don't know why, but if y'all looking at him right there, I love this picture right here. Man, get your ass off that laptop.
I know. You ain't gonna be here before you fall out.
I'm James Bond. Yippee! get your ass off.
Yo, not acting at it.
I'm a secret agent. Can't you tell?
Yeah. And I'm surfing too.
Look, Mom, I'm not fixing cars no more.
But as far as this James Bond that we have, But before getting into James Bond, because he was synonymous with that, he owned that role for the James Bond, the version that he played. But he did a lot of things before then and a lot of things after. For example, a lot of people, they know him, and people who were before my generation, a couple of generations before that, you might remember him from the TV show. You know which one I'm talking about.
I remember him from 2 TV shows.
Which ones?
From Maverick and The Saint.
Saint, where he played Simon, what was
Templar.
it? Templar.
This is Simon Templar.
He's like, he's fucking with people. He's like, do you see this shit over my head? Are you tripping yet? This head. What you do? Man, I didn't even notice that. Man, for the intro to the Saint, that is stick figure, and to me, it used to look cool. And I'm looking at it like he's doing a chicken dance or something. Oh, he's looking like, honey, let me tell you,
Like a sock bucket without the sock.
Girl.
But that was a classic theme right
Hell
there.
yeah.
What was the other show you remember him from?
Maverick. Maverick with James Garner.
Oh yeah. They made that movie later on with Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
But
the good show, the show is actually really good. It's almost like if you took the Rockford Files and had it in the Western time.
yeah, but you know the thing about what is that
There
noise?
he is.
Oh, okay. I was like, where the fuck is that coming from? Did you hear that shit?
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's cut down. I thought I heard I thought I heard our own voice.
Hearing voices.
I did too.
You heard that shit. I'm not crazy.
They weren't telling you to kill any of us. But
Yeah, they told me to kill Corey.
Yourself?
The thing about the Saint though, that ran from 1962 to 69. A lot of people, especially right now, they were saying before Roger Moore was actually James Bond. That show kind of predicted later on that he would be James Bond. They actually dropped a little bit of a joke in there that eventually came true.
Oh, not just teasing me, are you? You really are James Bond.
Does he cut that on just to fuck with people?
Can other people see that? Or is it just him?
I don't know. I think she sees this. She's like, oh shit,
It's kicking in.
I'm tripping. She's like, I'm high as fuck.
You look so confused every time that halo pops.
I know. He just carries that shit around with him everywhere he goes. What is it, a trick? But with that, throughout time, a lot of people kind of forgot that he played the Saint. A lot of older generation people do, but James Bond, of course, overshadowed that after a while.
Sure.
And you know what? If you look at Roger Moore's IMDb page, this guy did a lot, and seriously, a lot of things that people just don't remember. I'm looking at his roster, his resume right now of projects that he's done. I mean, I'm scrolling. Shit, he's dead.
Jesus.
He's still making movies right now. They say filming at this point. So he did. I just want to say that he did a lot of things so that we can actually pay some tribute to his career.
Sure.
But let's be honest. He's always going to be James Bond, and he is James Bond. Mm-hmm. Granted, a version of James Bond, but he is one of the most memorable versions. Now, I'm going to say something. He is not my favorite James Bond. That honor goes to Sean Connery and Daniel Craig. Sean Connery, of course, being the first James Bond that was out there with Dr. No, one of my favorite films. But Sean Connery will always, not Sean Connery, but Roger Moore. Roger Moore will always be my first because I grew up with that version of James Bond.
Well, I guess when I grew up, Roger Moore was James Bond in a theater. But the James Bond I was seeing the most was Sean Connery on TV because they would show those movies on television. So I had kind of both of those things going, and I think I liked Roger Moore the best at first, but then I came later to really appreciate Sean Connery because I think Roger Moore always gets tagged with being in the sillier James Bonds, which he was. There's no getting around it. But I think his very first one, Live and Let Die, I think is one of the better James Bond movies.
You know what?
That one and then they got pretty silly after that. But then,
well, hold on, because I know you're about to bring some other stuff, and I just want to say that you were right about Live and Let Die. That's the one that Live and Let Die. I think I'm doing the Axl Rose version. Live and let die. Live and let die. But when I was a kid, you know, Live and Let Die was on TV all the time. That's where he went. Where'd he go? He went to.
He's in Florida with that crazy sheriff, and he brings in voodoo.
But he's in the Caribbean or something. And that's where you affect Kodo, and it's a weird movie.
Jeffrey Holder.
Yeah, it's a weird movie, man. When as a kid, I didn't know any better. It's kind of weird watching it today, but it is a classic, and that's what I grew up with as far as my first James Bond Roger Moore experience.
My name's Bob. James Bond. Names is for tombstones, baby.
He's like, what?
Is that guy like, a zombie?
He's like, well, I'm just laughing like, just for tombstone, baby.
Niggas in there.
It's a little dark in here.
Yeah, it should turn into a blaxploitation movie. It's for tombstone, baby.
It kind of has that feel all
Yeah, Roger Moore looked like, you want to call me a jive turkey now? Because this shit really...
That look he was giving.
He look like nigga for real. Because the shit really it was like a blaxploitation movie.
Waste him now.
Like he's fighting Robo Negro and shit. This dude right here, the black dude with the
$600 man,
the $600 million black man. But yeah, it was. Yeah, man, it's not the most racially sensitive movie.
You don't say.
They were blowing up Negroes left and right in that film.
No, the funny thing is because I mean, I haven't obviously being born in the late 80s. I had only seen Pierce Brosnan's and Daniel Craig's Bonds. Mm-hmm. So this is Live and Let Die is the only other James Bond movie that I've seen from the older ones.
Oh, really?
So like this, what is like held as the big franchise that it became. But I know there's other things out there like Moonraker and things like that, which and Goldfinger. But yeah, this is the one I was like, all right, sure. I'm glad they got better.
Oh my God, dude! If you ever see Moonraker,
dude, that is the thing about it because. For a lot of people, this Roger Moore, they kind of have a love-hate relationship with him because Roger Moore embodied everything that James Bond could be. He was suave, charismatic, magnetic. Mm-hmm. Everybody still wanted to be him, but he was cracking those jokes, those puns.
Yeah, he had those puns, and he wasn't that good of a fighter, really.
Nah.
Yeah, the only stuff I mean, outside of the movies that I saw from the older James Bond was in GoldenEye 64 because you could pick characters like Oddjob and Jaws.
And what's the dude with the top hat? Oddjob, yeah. And you know... that's another thing people didn't like about it is because they said it's not just James Bond, but his movies, they were silly. You know, they were that almost like a parody of James Bond. They ended this cartoonishly sci-fi level, and that's exactly what Moonraker was.
Yep. Yeah.
An entire city in space.
James Bond.
Moonraker is what all the Austin Powers movies are based on.
Yeah, this makes like Austin Powers almost look like a drama.
Why is Eddie Monster the main villain in this?
With that hipster shirt and spaces. Yeah. And you know the funny thing about it is that the reason why you probably found it ridiculous because we all saw Moonraker as a kid. Either it was on TV or we rented it later out of curiosity. But the movie, if you need a refresher, it really turned into Star Wars after a certain point.
Yeah.
Like in Star Trek, like you see that dude.
Oh yeah.
It turned into like when the Enterprise gets hit.
Yeah.
And people start falling. Like I'm looking at this right here. Oh, like, watch this dude over here. That dude died. I'm telling you that right now.
He took the plunge.
But watch this, man. They start shooting lasers at each other.
Yes.
But that was the dopest gun in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous movie, man. And The only reason why it really gets a pass is because Roger Moore, man.
Isn't that the one where Jaws falls in love too?
Yes, it is. At the end, yes.
y'all want me to go back and watch it?
No. Well, only because you have a love for watching bad movies.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah. Like Jaws, and I kind of like that because Jaws was in another movie. Which one was it?
It was Spy Who Loved Me,
The
right?
Spy, yeah. And he was the one of returning bad guys who had a happy ending. Like he was, because you always felt bad for him because his teeth were fucked up. And he was like,
he had gigantism.
yeah. So I went to school with a girl who had braces that looked like that.
You called her Jaws, didn't you?
No, we called her. Yeah, we did.
I knew it.
Yeah, we did, man. But hey, he found love, so can she. But yeah, this was one. It was corny. It was really corny. But I don't know. You were looking at me when I said Roger Moore helped it get a pass. He's like, no, it didn't.
Yeah. With that.
Because the movie still, like, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, they're like, yeah, it's, it's dumb, but people still gave it like 60%.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
This is one of my absolute least favorite in the entire series.
Man, okay, you gotta.
But they got matching uniforms, man. Come on.
Everybody got matching jumpsuits.
Yeah, this is a film sensation right
They got those old man jumpsuits in space.
Yeah. Like what? By the time I saw this one, I was so completely turned off on Roger Moore.
Okay, now
he didn't win me back until For Your Eyes.
This was You'll Die Another Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And you know
it.
something?
Except I don't hate Die Another Day.
No.
See, that's one of the reasons why I gave Die Another Day a pass. Me being a kid and watching this when it came out, and of course Star Wars still being kind of the craze and space operas, and that's what they were kind of riding off of with this too. I mean, they were trying to get into it, get some of that space opera Star Wars success. And as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is cool, man. James Bond in a Star Wars movie. But I was a stupid kid, But so I have a nostalgic affection for this movie. But that also is something where even Sean Connery himself had to come out and say. He was trying to be nice too, because they asked him. They said, "Listen, tell us how you really feel about Roger Moore." And later on, they asked him about Daniel Craig. And later, he said with Daniel Craig, he's like, Daniel Craig is cool, but Roger Moore.
His is a sort of parody of the character, as it were, in that situation, so that you will go for the laugh or the humor at whatever the cost of the credibility or the reality.
In other words, of some stupid shit. Is what he's trying to say. He's just being very nice.
Wasn't he bitter as hell though when he left and did the one we talked about, Never Say Never?
Well, because he had quit. He didn't want to do it anymore, and that's when he got Lazenby.
Yeah,
and then that one failed, and they say like, all right, man, how much money we got to pay you to do one more?
Yeah,
and he came back for Diamonds Are Forever.
Okay,
and with that other one with Never Say Never Again, I guess it was like it was like a breakup in the producer and studio and.
Okay,
and they had to put that fake ass hairpiece on him.
Yeah.
He always wore hair.
Yeah, he had a hairpiece in Dr. No.
Was that a hairpiece in
Yeah.
Dr. No? Mm-hmm. Oh shit, dream shattered.
Yeah. Was a hairpiece.
For a spy, he used to do some dumb shit too. I remember one of his spy moves was to pull a pluck of hair and put it on the crack of the door. Because if he came back and that hair was gone, then somebody came to the room. I think the air conditioner could have blew that shit off, man. It was.
He'd have to kill that too.
Damn yo! But
blowing all this air. Who the fuck do you think you are?
But you know what? While people want to talk about Roger Moore being silly and his genre being silly, that was the flavor that Pierce Brosnan brought in. He was kind of the embodiment of.
He was a cross between the two of them.
Yeah, but for a lot of people, they say, man, they reflect back on that and they say, man, GoldenEye was a great movie and some of the other stuff that he did, but he was really leaning on that Roger Moore James Bond because he was cracking a lot of jokes, and it only took a little while for the movies. They didn't always start out being that grounded. They kind of hit the ground running into some ridiculous shit, but it was Die Another Day where that was the one where they said, no, this has gone full-fledged, retarded ass Roger Moore.
Who sent you?
Your mama. Where you're going, I'll get you.
Yeah, man. This makes Moonraker look
I
like
take
a
it Mr.
documentary.
Bond's been explaining his Big Bang Theory. Yeah, I think I got the thrust of it.
They went wow. People were like, wow, man. And Halle Berry was not helping.
I remember seeing that and I was like, I don't know what is going on in this movie. And I was like, sure, lasers.
I don't hate this movie because there's some parts of it that are good, and there's some parts of it that are really silly.
Yeah.
And with
Korea
Moonraker, it's just all the way through. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. You know what?
Another day.
Oh, the Madonna theme,
song.
yeah.
And then she shows up in the movie as a fencing instructor.
I forgot that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can't even really watch this movie anymore. At the time, I thought I liked it, and I went back and cut it off midway.
Well, I remember one of the big things was I remember being a kid when this came out, and they kept saying, "Yo, Halle Berry's the new James Bond girl, and she's not that Bond girl that just gets slept with and she disappears. She kicks ass." And they had her coming out of the water in the orange bikini. But then she gets slept with and gets her ass kicked by Rosamund Pike. I'm like, all right.
Oh yeah. And they tried to do a spinoff with her. They tried to create that Bond universe with the Vixen Jinx. Yeah. They tried to give her own spinoff, which thankfully never happened. They came in and just shut that off quick.
It just turned it into Catwoman.
Yeah.
There was one scene I remember liking in Die Another Day a lot. There's a cool sword fight in it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. The fencing fight is really good.
Yeah.
The North Korea chase was good too.
But what I remember was, that whole thing with him getting captured and tortured and all that. It had a great opening. But what I remember most about his run of movies, was GoldenEye was just like perfect. And then the next two movies were dull as shit.
Yeah.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, yeah.
With Die Another Day being silly, I was like, hey man, something's happening here.
The world is not enough.
To me, I was at that point. I was like, they are fucking Bond all up, which is why I love Casino Royale. I know Martin, not like that. He doesn't. I love Casino Royale, but you know what?
Are you not a fan of Casino Royale?
No,
I'm not.
I don't
either,
watch
actually.
a dude play poker. For 30 minutes.
What did you just say?
I hate Casino Royale because I don't want to watch a guy play poker for 30 minutes.
Oh my god! Thank you. Somebody else said it.
Like I watch ESPN4 to watch this movie.
Oh my god!
They don't get it. They don't understand.
This is the best show ever.
We know how to play poker, man. We get it.
And he's losing the whole time. No, I got this.
Well, I
you got it.
found it exciting. Thank you, sir.
Watching him and Jeffrey Rush have conversations over a poker
You got my back on this, man. Thank you.
But what you think about that Monster Cinematic Universe? Got him back.
You know what though? One of the things I will give Roger Moore is that he always had a sense of humor about it.
Sure.
He when it was done, he never tried to get serious about it, never got mad, never lamented on it too hard, and was knighted over it. And he still went back and said, "Look, I know it was the James Bond I did was crazy. I know that it was all
He's
for
like,
fun.
I didn't write this.
Yeah, I'm doing my thing.
Yeah. And he paid, man.
And he was not trying to be James Bond.
True.
He in a movie they couldn't get him to be James Bond, but unless he was making a parody of himself, like Cannonball Run. It was a lot of things.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking of a movie called Folks, but
it was like for folks.
Yeah.
And Cats and Dogs. he was one of the voices of one of the cats.
Why you gotta bring that up? Don't Raul Julia.
I know, man. I know. No, he had more. Of
course.
Yeah, of course. But he didn't care. Like back in my day, people loved him as James Bond being a fucking fool in Cannonball Run.
Step backward, yeah? I must warn you. I'm Roger Moore. Roger Moore.
Fuck you.
He's thinking about throwing another punch.
Yeah.
I'm sleepy.
Actually, that's how you fought in the James Bond movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I was saying that he was being James Bond, but he was actually being himself right there. He didn't take it. He loved his life, man. Mm-hmm. He really did.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
I know. Like I said, if you are James Bond, then it's done.
Right. All that money and females that movie brought him, he better not be mad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think his last words were, fuck it.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Man, you were my least favorite James Bond. But you weren't mine.
Yeah, what did you do? So, yeah, people. We want to say goodbye to James Bond. That's not her right there. She's like, he died. But no, we want to say a farewell to James Bond because for a lot of people, James Bond is a large part of our culture. But Roger Moore, like I said, for a lot of people, he was there first. He was that James Bond, whether they were his favorite or not. And this is where I come in and I say, and I think you all agree with me, when I don't say I'm sad, I don't say, rest in peace. I say, man, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, 89.
89. We would all be so lucky. Shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know.
Now that he's popped the cork on it, now a bunch of other ones gonna start dying.
I know, because somewhere Sean Connery is like, I'll beat that motherfucker.
I stood the test of time.
He's a Highlander.
Yeah, you're like, got him.
He's gonna start taking out Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan. You're the only one.
That was very conspicuous.
He won't bother with Timothy Dalton.
No, he won't.
Really, James Bond.
He'd be like, who?
Him and George Lazenby.
Oh, fuck are you?
Hey, you looking at them right now. Who the fuck are you?